town.
The holiday season is here, and Sartor Heyman is making your shopping easy. Shop our wide selection of necklaces, earrings, or bracelets to our amazing line of watches. Looking for something truly unique? Consider our estate jewelry, or even build your own custom handcrafted piece with our in-house designers. The perfect gift at the perfect price. Christmas memories start with family and Sartor Heyman.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option. The Huskers are headed to the Pinstripe Bowl. Cheer on the Huskers in New York City on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour offered by the Nebraska Alumni Association. Your bowl package includes a 2-night hotel stay, round-trip transportation on game day, pregame events, and more. Spots are limited, so book your spot now on the official Husker Pinstripe Bowl tour with the Nebraska Alumni Association. Go to huskerfantravel.com or call 888-831-0858. That's 888-831-0858 or huskerfantravel.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Strap up your headgear and try not to hit the mat too hard. This is Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling head coach Mark Manning.
Facts don't lie. Wrestling is it's a pretty big deal in the Big Ten, so it's a pretty big deal to us.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by Stevens & Smith Construction. Here is your host, Mark Manning.
It's Takedown Tuesdays on the Ticket. DP, of course, Mark Manning sends his regards, and he sends his next two and his best to represent this thing. You know the deal. 402-464-5685. Starter him and text line. You want to be a part of what we're doing, and you do. We know that to be a statement of truth. So jump on. You can text in comments, questions, or otherwise. You can follow on the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Allo Channel 961. Here's the constant about the wrestling program. When they send folks, the room gets better looking. And I have a few questions for Coach. And again, full disclaimer, there's zero chance that I can get to every question that I have for this young man because there's so many. So this is just the placeholder and setting the table for these conversations. They call him one of the greatest to ever put on the singlet here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And for every staple and standard, and from the mouths of the young men under his watch in charge, they call him the best. So let's bring in associate head coach Bryan Snyder of the Huskers. Coach, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me, DP. Happy to be here.
No, look, we've been poking each other for a couple of years trying to get this thing going, and I had every expectation that it would for various reasons. One being your fans are rabid. They are passionate. They are connected. They're informed, intelligent. They know the sport. They know the sacrifices required. But a thing showed up to me in Vegas this weekend was the support. Even on the road, Husker Nation did what Husker Nation does. That's got to mean the world to the young men to know that people care about them and this program enough to show up all over the country supporting the Scarlet and Creek.
Yeah, absolutely. Every year in Vegas, we have a great crew, families, alumni. Craig Brester was there, who was the, national finalist for us. But just other people I don't even know, just with Husker Wrestling t-shirts on in Vegas. And it's great. And I always tell people, if you're a true college wrestling fan and you want to see two All-Americans doing battle, you can watch from me to you. That's how fan friendly it is in Vegas. But the support's great. When we won it a couple of years ago, we recognized how much support we had in the arena, and we invited everybody to come take a picture with us. So one of our Christmas cards one year that we sent out to our fans and our donors was that picture. So I can pull it up and send it to you one day. But it's great. Our guys love it. It's not lost on them.
Let's a couple of things. You mentioned pictures, and Evil DP pops into my head because there is a picture. We have to set up a promotional picture, right? That we want to send out to folks to just, and easily in the athletic department of the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, there's two of you on the Mount Rushmore of fantastic looks, epic hair, like the full on, right? It's you and Luca Virgilio of the basketball program that you two need to just have your own walk off, right? Like just get up there and do your thing, put on your tight suits and mousse the hair and make it work. But in my discovery, there is a blonde-haired coach.
It's there.
Blonde hair. For this degree that you hold, please tell me the mindset. What went on in the mind of young Bryan Snyder?
I wish I had a good excuse. I'm this East Coast guy, and then people met me and they're like, "Are you from California?" No, but for some reason that was the style. And the bad part about it was it didn't stop with me. It actually started a little bit of a trend of other people having bad curly blonde hair too. But it comes up all the time. We were in at the trials in Omaha, and this lady who was working volunteer, she's like, "Where's the blonde hair?" They remember me, from back in my day, 20 years ago. But I have a little bit of influence, so I was able to move the one picture of me with the blonde curly hairs. That I was able to put one of me after I graduated as my All-American pick. So
yeah,
but the internet, like you said, hey, the internet is forever. So there's people there; they can see it.
I went through and I double take, and here's the thing: I sent it to Austin, and only with the idea that he was going to smile too. So Austin, in your best description, how would you just define this masterpiece of hair work that was blonde-haired Bryan Snyder?
I value my career and my physical health, so no comment. I appreciate the effort. You rocked it, Coach. Way to go.
Thank you.
So let's go through, and we're both East Coast kids, and I think sometimes I get in trouble for speaking regionally about how different pockets of the country process athletes and produce athletes. Mm-hmm. And Eastern Pennsylvania is a meat grinder of a region. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. If you're an athlete or coach in that area, first of all, work. You are going to have to work to be known, work to survive. And then some things are required. Your family has to provide opportunity boundary resources for you to have the kind of success that you had. So let's talk about the family and the support that they gave you to help you become what you became.
So, my pops was wrestler. My uncle was a wrestler. My grandfather was a wrestler. Both my uncles were wrestlers, actually. So in Easton, it's like football in Texas, right? It's in Easton, which is part of the Lehigh Valley. I would argue, and most people would argue, is the mecca of high school wrestling. Even in terms of what they do in high school, but even more so what they go on to do in college and Olympics, right? So, So for me, it was wrestling, right? And so from the time I was 6 or 7, I jumped into St. Anthony's youth center, which is actually where Larry Holmes used to train. His training camp was on the 2nd floor of St. Anthony's, and we were on the 3rd floor. And it was just a bunch of kids from the city that got together and wrestled. But you mentioned the work aspect, and that's what it was. Some days I thought we were in track practice. We ran so much, but tons of support. So first of all, it was just taken for granted. It was like, hey, it's what you did, right? You're a Snyder, you're going to wrestle. It was awesome. So I got into a really great St. Anthony's program with kids that I, ran the streets with, hung out with, went to school with, and tremendous support. Not only from my dad, but my best friend growing up, Jamar Billman, his dad was a huge influence on me. And so when we weren't wrestling, we were in the weight room lifting with him. And he was like the strength and conditioning coach before there were strength and conditioning coaches. We were running hills backwards. We were doing crazy lifts, and he made it fun for us and challenging. So Dwayne was a big part of my my growth, just being mentally tough, learning how to work. But that was a staple. No matter, it was St. Anthony's, it was middle school, it was junior high, it was Easton High School. It was the work, right? Like, we always prided ourselves on being the public school that would compete with the private schools, right? We were the #1 public team, public school in the country my junior or senior year, and we won the Reno tournament the year that that all the private schools were there. But that was a big for us. That was a big part of our identity, is that we were Easton. We came up through the little league ranks, and we wrestled at the high school that we lived in the school district, and we loved to compete against everyone else.
Was the national level of competition easier because of the meat grinder aspect of home? Because you didn't get out of Easton without being an absolute dude. So you actually got advantage. Iron sharpening iron and steel sharpening steel, in the fullest sense, that Easton prepared you for whatever was going to come next.
Yeah. So I was JV my freshman year, right? So I was, and I had to drop my sophomore year to go down to the lowest weight class because I would be JV again.
Yeah.
That guy I mentioned, Jamar Billman, was coming down. So, so it was really tough. And a couple points on that. One, I was at the beginning of the big tournaments, the big high school national tournaments, 2 of them, Reno and Ironman, right? So they're still big. Ironman is the king. Yeah. Reno is, from year to year. But I placed higher in those tournaments than I did at the state tournament. My junior year, I won Ironman. I was second at the Reno, and I was 5th in the state, and then my senior year, I won all 3. But my high school coach, Mr. Powell, Steve Powell, he was tremendous in challenging us, and all the storied teams that he had throughout the years. He never had an undefeated season, and he prided himself on that, right? So he always tried to get us beat, and hence his career, So, yeah, I mean, it's where it was at, and you had to scrap. You had to scrap to make the lineup. I was just in Vegas, and we were talking about old Ironman finals. And I, one of the coaches for Stanford, I wrestled in the finals, and then me and Manning were just looking at this old PDF. And we had a guy on our team in Easton who won Ironman, the toughest tournament in the country, and did not place at the state tournament that year. Wild. And then my sophomore year, I won Ironman twice. We went 3 times. My sophomore year, I went all the way to Ironman to beat everybody on my side of the bracket. And then I got the break speed off me in the finals by a guy from in our district.
From home.
Yeah, from Northampton.
Just from home.
Beat me like I stole something.
Yeah, Ironman, give folks a perspective on the size of the Ironman tournament and the legs in it, because this is long game. I mean, you could track wrestling through Ironman forever and eternity. So give them a little of what the Ironman is about.
So it's I don't know if they call it an invitational, but yeah, I mean, it's an invitational. Like, not anyone can go. Yeah. Right. And so with each year, more and more prestige. And so, like, for instance, like Cade Ziola can go, but not the whole Scott wrestling team can go. Right. So they, unless you're a powerhouse, you get like selectively chosen to go there, and it's the best of the best. And it's in the heart of wrestling country, outside of Cleveland, and it's wild. it's wild. And so for me, like, I wrestled there in 94, 95, and 96, right? But in 94, this was, I mean, internet was still dial up. We didn't really know what was going on, but we're like, this guy's a 2-time Oklahoma State champ, and this guy's, a New York State champ. And so for us, it was just wild that we would go wrestle guys from other states and, more times than not have success against these guys.
I mean, so that all of that in play, recruiting had to be ridiculously different than it is now, because coaches had to really kind of, one, trust the word of local folks, and two, you really were picking from the cream of the crop. Nobody else got a look. You did it in a way that's still unique. Being a freshman wrestling up at JV, I'll ask you this. What do you say to parents who have a young wrestler who may not have the prestige as a freshman or sophomore? There are ways. I mean, there are late developers, late bloomers. What do you say to those parents who have a freshman or sophomore who are grinding? It's not easy, but they do love it.
So I think it's important to hear stories like mine, right? So you can see someone that's had a lot of success in the sport, but they weren't always at that level. And it gets to some of the core principles of our sport, right? Like, do you love it? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to fight for it? And how hard are you willing to work for it? Because our sport, more than any other sport, there's so many different ways to win a wrestling match, right? I had the honor to coach Anthony Robles for 1 year, his junior year at Arizona State. He's a national champ. He's one leg, right? And you short people, tall people, skinny people. There's so many different ways to win a wrestling match. So if you have the will and the want to, more than likely you're going to find your way. You're going to find your success in our sport. It's the guys and girls that don't have the resiliency to get back on their saddle, get back on their horse when they get knocked off. Those are the ones that don't have the success. Usually the grinders find a way, right? Because it's just, you got to have the resiliency though too. So it's not just grinding, but you have to be smart. You got to figure out, you can't keep, trying the same thing that didn't work. So you got to be adaptable. You got to have good coaches. And I think that's, part of our success in Easton is we had a very strong head coach that had very clear standards of right and wrong and what the expectations of the sport were, and of his program were. And then we had assistant coaches that did a really, really good job of lifting us up when we needed to be lifted up, and kicking us in the butt when we needed that as well. And I think you need that balance, to push people to greatness.
We're here on Takedown Tuesday with associate head coach Bryan Snyder of Nebraska Wrestling. And again, the preface that there are a million questions in the minds of wrestling fans and folks who text and want to have this consideration. But you mentioned the girls and women's wrestling because it's really a thing. And in this space, in this part of the country, it really has legs. And then you mentioned the core elements of wrestling at this level. Does it cross over from men's and women's, that the same type of personality types, people who are willing to work through, and we talk about intelligence and toughness. You mentioned grittiness. Are those the three core things that will identify high-level wrestlers, male, female, young, old, or otherwise?
In general, yes. Everything that wins on the boys' side wins on the girls' side, and will so moving forward as the sport evolves. 100%. When you talk about what wins, and I mentioned a couple of the core principles, for us it's three things. It's do you have a love for the sport, right? Are you in it for the right reasons, like warts and all, like not just the wins, right? Do you love the fact that like you're sacrificing, you're laying it on the line, and you're competing, and win or lose, you're developing character. So one is like, do you love the sport? The other one is, like what's your work ethic? What's your discipline level? Like, these are all variables, right? So you can move the needle up and down on all of them. That's a big one. And the other one for us is, what's your level of courage? Like you've seen people that when the lights are on, they like to compete. And that, again, I think sometimes what's lost is some people say you either have it or you don't. It's not a skill. You either have it or you don't. And that's nonsense, right? It's a variable like anything else. toughness is a variable like anything else, and you can move the needle on it. But I mean, those three things, like, do you love the sport? What's your level of discipline, and how courageous are you? If you can track those three metrics, you can track most of the elite wrestlers. And I would argue maybe even just the elite athletes. Now, obviously, your physicality, your strength, that stuff matters, but not that much in wrestling, right? You just look at our lineup, and we have a bunch of different level of athleticism, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think that what makes our sport so unique and so amazing is that there are different ways to win with different body types, right? And that if that guy's stronger than you, there's a way to beat him, right? If he's faster than you, it's a way to beat him. Now, it helps when you're strong and fast.
but doesn't that apply, like, you as a coach, when you watch other sports, those same conversations have to take place?
Yeah.
And going, gee, I don't care if it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, that those same principles apply. So when you watch Husker Athletics, you watch it gritting your teeth a little bit, because you want for them what you want for your own folks. But Nebraska wrestling, you and Coach Manning and this staff, you have figured out a way to assemble a group of folks. Again, they all look different, come from different backstories and otherwise, but collectively they become one in mindset, heart, work ethic, and otherwise. They cheer on each other. They support each other. And I think a big part of that is knowing what a Nebraska Husker wrestler is. At his very core, you know what that is. So I'll ask you, when you're recruiting and you're scouting, what are you looking for?
So we're looking a lot for those three variables, right? I mean, so to identify and the top kids in the weight class, like, it's not as hard now as it was back in 1994 when you had to rely on regional, a coach, maybe a club coach from this part of the country and that part of the country. We can watch everybody, right? So we know who the top talent is. We can see him on Flow Wrestling. We can see him, we go to Fargo. There's a couple tournaments where we could go, and most of the kids that are going to be successful at the next level are there, right? But that's just one piece of the recruiting puzzle. Then the more in-depth conversation happens between us as a staff, and like, hey, does this kid fit, right? First of all, can he take an L and come back the next day, and
or later that morning,
or yeah, exactly, or you know what? In terms of Vegas, I'm sure we're going to talk about Vegas, but 30 minutes later, right?
Yeah.
When you have your goal of winning the tournament crushed, you got to come back 30 minutes later to place. Mm-hmm. So the grittiness, the resiliency factor, that's something we look for, right? We always have a little bit of suspicion, not a suspicion, but just a question mark in the strict sense of the term with guys that have never lost, because we don't know how they're going to react. I mean, they could be fine, but we haven't seen it. So not having that piece of data makes us a little nervous. Now, wrestling's a tough sport, so there's not very many of those guys, but you can see maybe there's someone from, maybe there's someone from a state that's not super talented or deep, and you don't see them wrestle nationally, right? And so you got a little question, why aren't they wrestling nationally? Now, maybe it's because they're Craig Brester and they're from a town of 600 people. So when it's football season, they got to play football. When it's track season, they got to run track. And that's something we take in consideration. Yeah. But we look for the grittiness, the resiliency. And then, to be honest with you, one of the things that we've done great, and Coach Manning's been a lead on this in the last decade, is finding kids that culturally fit, good kids. Yes, mom, treat their parents well. I mean, I don't know if these kids know this, but when we bring them on campus, like, we're looking for these things, right? How do they interact with, because what is that? Because that's like, okay, how do they interact with authority?
How do you treat the people who care about you?
Exactly. So we tease a lot of that out on going to see them, doing a home visit, talking to their folks, talking to their club coach, and then bringing them on campus. And the guys on our team have great families that their parents have done such a tremendous job, raising them for this moment. It makes our job really enjoyable. That they're good, because there's going to be a lot of heartbreak. There's going to be a lot of loss. There's going to be a lot of heart to hearts, and they got to trust us, right? They got to trust us. And they got to be willing to, kind of run back through a wall for us.
I love the fact that you mentioned trust in it, because coaches that mention trust hold themselves accountable as well. Mm-hmm. And it's important, especially in this day of transfer portal and NIL, that the athletes trust the coaches and the coaches trust the athletes. And because all the resources in the world can't hide when there's a lack of trust. It shows up in every way. Associate head coach Bryan Snyder with us. We'll throw it to break. When we come back, we want to talk about Vegas. And Vegas had so many plots and subplots and twists and turns. But I think my curiosity leads me to ask him what he really thought about this Vegas weekend. They finished second in the Keene tournament, Keene Invitational. But we'll talk about that with Coach when we come back. And then just a reminder for you folks, Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling on 93.7 The Ticket, sponsored by our friends at Stevens & Smith Construction, an employee-owned company with nearly 250 employees with over 2,000 years of service combined. They lead the industry as a full-service concrete company specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. Locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City. Check them out at StevensandSmith.com, and that's Stevens with a PH. DP, Coach Snyder, coming back to you here, Takedown Tuesdays on The Ticket.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com, because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
The holiday season is here, and Sartor Heyman is making your shopping easy. Shop our wide selection of necklaces, earrings, or bracelets to our amazing line of watches. Looking for something truly unique? Consider our estate jewelry, or even build your own custom handcrafted piece with our in-house designers. The perfect gift at the perfect price. Christmas memories start with family and Sartor Heyman.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Nebraska's Christmas Light Show is back and bigger than ever. The Magical Lights of Lincoln Christmas Show runs from Black Friday through New Year's Eve at Sandhills Global Event Center. Bring the family for a show they'll never forget, featuring over 1.5 million lights. Cost is $25 per vehicle from Monday through Thursday, $30 on Friday and Saturday, and also $30 on Christmas Eve and Day. Purchase your tickets online today at ChristmasLightsInLincoln.com and get ready to experience a drive-through light show like you've never seen before.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through December 15th, enjoy thick-cut Iowa pork chops for $1.99 per pound, boneless beef crock pot roast for $4.99 per pound, Plus, they're now taking orders for prime rib, filet mignon, and other holiday items. And don't forget the $50 holiday box now through Christmas. Always a great gift. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn. Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Back to Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling head coach Mark Manning, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Takedown Tuesdays on the Ticket. DP, associate head coach Bryan Snyder joins us. In full disclosure, I have to keep repeating it because there's zero chance that anybody from this program comes in here and in an hour and 45 minutes of talk time, we get to everything we need to get to. Doesn't happen. So we're just planting the flag for future conversations along the way. We had a texter who texted and says, not only has this guy been coaching for 30 plus years, been doing it since they were all little. They do it well. Thanks for making the days go by faster. We will have our ears on it. Just for people to understand that those families you mentioned showed up in Vegas. They show up in Lincoln. The alumni group shows up, the wrestlers, anybody that's worn a singlet, they show up in full. They're loud. They're supportive. It's amazing. So in talking about Vegas, this tournament, 30-plus teams. And hearing about it originally, I thought, well, this is a lot. And then you look at some of the programs that are there and, oh, yeah, this really is. This is an evaluator. This is the mirror that you hold up and see where you rank and what work you need to do. As a perfectionist, as a wrestler, and then as a coach, the expectation is one thing. Tell us what the expectation of this weekend was, and then the reality, how you walked away feeling about this Husker wrestling team.
You know, the expectation going in is we knew if we wrestled well, we could win it. Then knowing that Silas was not going to wrestle, we thought, we could still win it. Like last year, we were really close to winning it, and Trelly and Van D didn't place, right? So we're thinking if we get our 9 bullets firing, we'll be good. The reality of it is Vegas was good, a bit of a mixed bag, but it's a meat grinder. So, but the most important thing for us is, one of our core messages to our team is you guys are not finished products, right? So we want to go test you guys, see where you're at, and then we come back and we make the adjustments and know that this is it's nice to win Vegas, but really it's just nice because it's a good prep. It's a good test to see where you're at mid-season, not quite mid-season. And then, we get back to work because like you said, there's a ton of really good teams there. In some weight classes, they'll 6 out of the 8 guys that placed in Vegas will place at the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. And so it is a good measuring stick to see where our team is to compete for a team trophy, but individually where some of our guys are competing to get on the podium.
Day one, at one point in the day, you were 21-3. And I just went, oh, this is going well.
Yes.
And again, no Silas, right? No. So that's another 2 or 3 wins that you kind of lock in, and the points would have shown up in the standings. And then day 2, I mean, having 6 in the semis, not being surprised, but is it tougher for you? Is it more important for you to be supportive and positive after a loss than after a win?
Yeah, and it's important for us to be measured. So I'll tell you this, right? So when you're rolling, it's great and you're up for the next guy and a little bit of momentum, right? And then the tough part as a coach is then what happens when you lose 3 in the semis and you got another guy that still has a very meaningful match, Ridge Lovett, like you got to be up for him. Right. So you can't let the losses get you too low, and you can't let the highs get you too high. And we do a good job with that. But yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of Vegas. We went on a little bit of run. We had a little bit, we lost, 3 straight in the semis, and then, Ridge and Trelly won, and Bubba lost a tough one. It's just, again, just a little bit of that tournament. It's tough. It's really tough.
And not all results are the same.
No.
Like Bubba's performance, if measured to what Bubba needed to accomplish, was a spectacular weekend, right? And then some of the others, you go, wait a minute, you won, but there's some things that we need to work on, and it shows up in full. So for you, going through it, how do you make the decision when several wrestlers are wrestling at the same time? So what coach goes where?
So we kind of have our guys that we are we do individual workouts with. Yeah. We're maybe a little bit closer to one way or another. So we kind of have a system. Coach Manning and James go with Caleb. Me and Tervel go with Van D. If Brock's coming up and Van D's still on, Tervel will pull off. Me and Manning are with Ridge. But if James will be the lead on Trelly, and so we kind of have it. And then we just kind of go through, like Tervel will go over to Bubba, and I'll be with Lenny, and then so it's just we talk through it, and then it just gets rolling throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
But it's we talked about it off before the show started.
Yeah.
It's taxing, because when you wrestle well, you get 7 guys place. You basically have guys wrestling the whole tournament.
Yep.
So you're in this one, you're arguing with refs, you're trying to get guys up, you're coming down, you're getting guys ready. It's wild.
And you as coaches, you expend a lot of energy. Like I don't here at Devaney, coach likes to set it up so that I'm sitting on the mat, like I'm down on the floor. And then in Vegas, I'm leaning against the pole right in front of the mat. And here's the thing that I realized how much I was sweating, because I'm maneuvering myself.
Yeah. That's how you know you're a fan.
Right there. And I went, wait a minute, what is going on? Be a spectator, dude. Like, just go sit down. But then I watch y'all. And listen, I don't know how many folks have all been to wrestling matches at Devaney, but to watch this coaching staff, I get distracted in watching y'all over because you as a wrestler haven't given it up.
No.
You fully believe that if I turn my wrist, the wrestler's wrist is going to turn and this thing's going to work out.
Hilarious. Somebody should do a mashup of all the coaches trying to, just a little more, I could get them.
It's so good.
And my dad's the same way. My dad's a wrestling coach, so you can see like back in the old pictures. My dad's also trying to do what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I mean, it's a taxing weekend. My whoop strap. I was asleep by 7:12 on Saturday night.
Friday night. That was me.
Yeah.
That was Friday night. The session ended right at 6:00, and I made a beeline back to the hotel. And I mean, I collapsed, and I went, oh, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and set the alarm for 7:00 so I could be there early and talk to everybody. But it was spectacular to watch. But you just mentioned a thing. It is amazing that unlike any other sport, is it family connected. If you're a high level wrestler, your dad, your uncles, they wrestle. Like it is a thing. How many, of this crew, a lot of the folks have dads who are wrestlers. And Austin, let me tell you, if you go to a wrestling match, you will identify the dads. Because they all look like give me a singlet and I'll go handle this for you. So your dad watching you in what was at the time the greatest wrestling career in Nebraska history. I'm sure that you and your dad had some moments of things that he would say to you, and you look over and go, "Oh man, that's my dad. That's a dude."
My dad was great. He would always, he was my assistant coach growing up. So he always helped me a lot. And, in college, he was great because he kind of stopped being my coach, which, to be honest with you, is the best thing. Mm-hmm. The best thing a parent can do is just be your dad. Right. And he just became my support system. You know, hey, how you doing? How's things going? He completely trusted the coaching staff and just said, you know, this is where you're going to go. Funny though, he had me train like Pavlov's dogs. Anytime, even this weekend, my dad was out in Vegas, right? So my uncle lives out there, so he came out and watched. But he'll whistle, and he has the distinct whistle wherever I'm at. You know, I remember walking out, you know, NCAA's, you know, for a match, and I hear the whistle. I can see my dad in the stands. So
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, he's great. My pops is awesome.
That is a powerful thing.
He wrestled at Penn State now, so
we forgave him.
Yes,
we forgave him because now that like in the lane that is, and Big Ten wrestling's different than anything else. And quick shout out because there are some programs. I'm a Virginia guy, and to watch Virginia Tech evolve into this thing that they've become, and they have some dudes. Like I went, what is happening in Blacksburg? But I'll ask you this thing. There were moments where let's speak to Van D. Jacob Van D had one of the biggest wins of the entire tournament.
Yep.
What does it mean for that young man to step up and have, no matter what else happened the rest of the weekend, he found out something about himself against a top 5 wrestler, and now his eyes have to change about what his ceiling is.
Yeah, and and I remember those moments from my career too. They're stepping stone moments, right? If you take advantage of them, right? Then nothing's inevitable, right? You can't say he beat a top 5 guy, so you know he's automatically gonna think differently about himself.
Right.
But that's his job. I mean, and those things are definitely markers. You know, and not only did he beat him, but he beat him 10-4, right?
Yeah.
The match wasn't close.
Yeah.
You know, Van D is a special wrestler. He's a very, very hard-nosed, blue-collar, outside of Erie. He's got a lot more to give, and I think you're going to see it coming. You know, see a lot more of him. You know, and what he can do throughout the year. He's going to have some good battles, both here and on the road, and he's special.
Yeah, to see his opponent, Jacob changed his facial expression.
Yeah.
Right, and it was that moment to go, oh, he's a different guy than he was before.
Yeah.
And to watch it happen along the way. What was the highlight for the weekend? Of course, Trelly having the result that even with he faced some friction. And there were some moments that younger Trelly may not have advanced in. This version of Trelly figured out a way to get to the top of the podium.
Well, what a difference 2 years makes. So his true freshman year, we were able to take him on the road. The Michigan kid pinned him. That kid was at Michigan State at the time, but he pinned him at the Navy Classic. Mm-hmm. Another kid, Peyton Keller, who didn't place at Trelly's weight this week, pinned Trelly at the Navy Classic, right? So the amount of growth that Trelly's had in 2 years is it's off the charts. And it's not surprising if you spend every day with the guy. He don't say boo. He works his butt off. He competes his butt off. And there's no surprise that he is where he is. And his level of composure and poise in big matches is actually very impressive. Yes. And you know, no, I don't think anyone else in that weight class has wrestled as many ranked guys as Trelly has this year. I think he's beat 5 ranked guys.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe 3 guys in the top 10, you know, and he was back in Monday morning and Tuesday. You know,
his story, his personal story is, and on a future episode, we'll go through. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I think to do fair service to this roster, there are some amazing, wonderful stories of depth and courage and overcoming and surviving friction and making it useful. And I would love to get into that, but we'll go to break and come back. Final segment. I want to have you build the perfect wrestler from the floor up.
Okay.
And in whatever way you want to do it, but I need you to describe and define the perfect wrestler.
All right.
So we're going to do that on Takedown Tuesdays on the Ticket.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Salt Mine City is now open at 8th and R in the Haymarket. Come check out Lincoln's newest brewery with 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager, Brick Street Amber Wheat, and so many more. There's daily drink specials like $1 off Moscow Mules on Tuesdays, $6 IPAs on Fridays, and $6 Bloody Marys on Saturdays. Stop by Tuesday through Thursday from 4 to 9 p.m., Fridays 4 to 11 p.m., Saturdays 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. It's Salt Mine City, Lincoln's newest brewery at 8th and R.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through December 15th, enjoy thick-cut Iowa pork chops for $1.99 per pound. Boneless beef crock-pot roast for $4.99 per pound. Plus, they're now taking orders for prime rib, filet mignon, and other holiday items. And don't forget the $50 holiday box, now through Christmas. Always a great gift. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
'Tis the season to raise a little Cane with Raising Cane's. Spread joy with craveable chicken finger meals and treat everyone on your nice list to a Cane's gift card or our beanies, socks, mugs, and more. Happy holidays from Raising Cane's. One love.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Back to Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling head coach Mark Manning, powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final segment before we hand it over to Des Moines Adams and Ashton Honor. Teammates Mentoring Hour from 5 to 6 on Tuesdays on The Ticket. Austin, if you would please, kind sir, let them know about our friends at Stevens and Smith.
gladly saw one of their trucks driving by on O Street today. Give them a little shout out there. So Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling on 93.7. The Ticket is sponsored by the great people, our friends at Stevens and Smith Construction. It's an employee-owned company with nearly 250 employees and over 2,000 years of service combined. They lead the industry as a full-service concrete company specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. They've got locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City. Check them out at stevensandsmith.com. Stevens with a PH.
Thank you, kind sir. From the text line says, "Hi, coach, youth wrestling coach in Lincoln, and I'm exhausted at the end of a tournament. Don't know how you do it." The other text says, "Listen, he wrestled and coached. Apparently, Scaper says you coached him. He goes, he's now coaching 2 of his 3 boys, and his 7-month-old will wrestle as well. So, well done along the way. Well done along the way, coach. I'm going to ask for you to build the perfect wrestler, the perfect high-level, elite, collegiate wrestler. And you can start from the head and go down to the floor, or start from the floor and build the wrestler up. Whatever way you want to do it works. How would you build the perfect wrestler?"
So, I mean, we're talking just like video game. I'm going to build, I'm going to create it. I'll go back to the 3 things that I talked about earlier, and I'll add a little bit to it. So, an absolute love for the sport, right? That they are in it for the right reasons. They like the fight. They like the struggle. They understand that no growth happens without struggle, right? So that's 100% love the sport. Ultra discipline. They realize that they're cut from a different cloth. Their Friday and Saturday nights look different than the rest of the student population, and so they make the sacrifices in their social life. They eat right. They work their butts off, and they work their butts off, and they're willing to take on any challenge you throw at them. Right. The other thing is compete like an animal, like absolute freedom. And, it's like, so courage is overcoming fear, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody has it. I remember JB sitting in the tunnel with him, standing in the tunnel with him before 2012 Olympic trials. And he turns around to me and he goes, I'm nervous as crap right now. Right. But it's being able to deal with that fear, normalizing it, realizing that everyone has it, and having a tactic to overcome it. But those people that compete courageously, that compete like an animal, I mean, those are the 3 non-negotiables that you need to be great. The other thing is, the sprinkle on top of that is if you have someone that's physically gifted and just a really good athlete, or you have a skill set that's so unique, like Brock Hardy. So I would say one part like amazing technique, which is kind of unorthodox, like Brock, and then the physical specimen, which is Jordan Burroughs. That's it. That's really it.
Cardio. Who has give me a cardio North Star, somebody that just has the extra chamber that gets them through tough moments.
Well, you got to realize I spent a lot of time with Burroughs, and
he's the goat for a lot.
I mean, he's
the North Star for a lot.
He really is. I mean, he's the greatest wrestler in American history. And so he was the pinnacle of all that. All those metrics I'm talking about, JB, he topped him out.
And that's. But I want you to repeat what you said about the man, because I don't know. We're sitting in the room with the guy who, when he left the campus, had the greatest accumulation of wins and record success than anybody who's ever put the singlet on here. And that's a statement, right? So let's take you and Burrow and Green and say, okay, here are the things that each of them provide that were just a little different than everybody else.
So I talked I talked some about JB. He's just he was the pinnacle of work and pinnacle of courage, mm-hmm. Right? James Green was overcame so much to make his first world team. Tremendous poise, like just no matter what gets thrown at him, greasy. Basically, he's very level-headed. He can handle a lot. I was James's coach for a long time. I challenged him a lot. I tried to disrupt him, sometimes successfully, most of the times not. And so he has a tremendous poise. Those guys are both better than me, right? They both competed better than me. I had the great pleasure to wrestle with them for such a long period of time. They have way more wins than I do over them right now. But no, I mean, those guys embody a lot of what makes greatness. You know, they're very disciplined, very committed to their craft. They take it seriously, right? And they know, for them, it's more than just, it's more than just a game. And as some people say, it's just a game, just have fun. But at that level, there's a commitment to your craft that you have to invest in.
Has anybody ever said that about wrestling?
No, I mean, you don't see grown men just going playing pick up wrestling, right?
I mean, I don't think anybody said about wrestling. Hey, just have a good time.
Yeah, it's different. You got to be built different. It's like it's a total institution. Like when you're in it, it just takes over all of your being, right? Like spiritually, like mentally, like physically. Obviously, it's like, and then that's part of the trick. To be honest with you, DP, is some of the greats. They got to have that switch where they can turn it off, right? So whether it's family or whether it's faith or whether it's just a group of people that don't talk anything about wrestling. Like my senior year, I lived with 2 guys that didn't wrestle. It was great. I needed it. I needed a little balance, because you can get too all in and get too tunnel vision.
And I'm glad you said that because it's required for some, from a family standpoint, from a dad standpoint, parents in the car, your significant other, just to be able to get away.
No, I mean, I believe, the parent thing is huge. Sometimes the parent wants it so much for the kid. They think they're doing good for him. And by all accounts, they're hurting him. And I always say, I'm glad I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Gus is starting to wrestle. He's 6-year-old. But I always say, I'm glad I was a coach before I was a parent, because I've seen it done well and I've seen it done not so well. And hopefully I can learn from the people that did it well.
Coach, you're one of the best that ever did it. So congratulations. And I'm looking forward to what's next. December 20th at Devaney?
December 20th at Devaney, UNK and Augustana.
It's gonna be fantastic. Jump on board, get on the ride. Don't go anywhere. We thank Associate Head Coach Bryan Snyder of the Huskers. We appreciate it. Demo and Ash coming up next. Take you to 6:00 on the ticket. We thank you all for hanging out on Takedown Tuesdays.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevenson